Welcome to an explainer from the Cosmic Thought Collective, where today we're giving some of the oldest myths in the book, a full system reboot. Think of it as a complete firmware update for the divine hard drive, because frankly, it's about time someone ran a defrag on this thing.
Right, so let's dive in. Our story begins not with a blinding flash of creation, but with a bug report from the world's very first beta test, the Garden of Eden. And our first witness, the original tech support guy, who, as you can see, has kind of moved into a consulting role and is, let's just say, over it.
So, welcome to Act 1, the divine beta test. The system was, flawless. The lighting was spectacular, the kind that looks super expensive but just comes standard with Paradise. And the primary user was, let's just pull up their profiles and see what we're working with. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, because you can see the fundamental design conflict right here. On one side, you've got user Alpha, Adam. He's basically a Renaissance statue with Bluetooth, but zero Wi-Fi connection to the bigger questions. All muscle, no curiosity. His default setting is pretty much sleep mode. But then you have user Beta, Eve. She's awake, prowling Paradise like it's some kind of baffling IKEA maze, and she is getting so ready to find that emergency exit. For all intents and purposes, she is switched on. And it's this deep dissatisfaction, this feeling that she's the only one who's actually awake, that leads Eve straight to the garden's IT department, which, as it turns out, is a deeply sarcastic serpent just hanging out near the only Wi-Fi hotspot in the whole place, the Tree of Knowledge. And her user request? It's simple, it's profound, and it is a direct violation of the terms of service. She wants to feel something. And this just brilliantly illustrates the catastrophic communication breakdown that happens next. Eve takes a bite of the apple, and boom, full system upgrade. She's trembling, she's aroused, she's alive, she is feeling everything for the very first time. And Adam? He runs a quick diagnostic, and his only conclusion is, "Are you cold?" He literally can't process the data. He thinks she's just caught a chill. So here's the crucial point. This is not your grandma's story about temptation and fall. Eve isn't tricked. She makes a choice. And she doesn't just leave. Oh no, she orchestrates a full-scale logout sequence. She eats the apple, sure, but then she smashes the serpent's skull when he gets a little too handsy, turns his skin into a designer purse, fills it with apples for the road, tells Adam exactly what she thinks of him, and then walks right out the front gate. She doesn't get kicked out, she quits. And what's happening up in the cosmic control room? A single, lonely error message flashes on a screen. User has exited Paradise. It's dutifully logged, filed away under beta test glitches, and of course, promptly ignored. But a system with a bug this fundamental doesn't just fix itself. No way. It tries to release patches. Which brings us to Act 2, Messiah on hold. See, the system evolves. The garden becomes this global corporation, and redemption? That's not a quiet personal journey anymore. It's a full-blown, live-streamed, corporatized spectacle, complete with sponsors and, you guessed it, key performance indicators. And here we have our second absurd scenario, which, let's be honest, feels a little too real. Welcome to the modern Messiah experience, a live crucifixion event sponsored by FaithFlex. Your suffering is now content, your pain is a marketing opportunity, and hey, if you take a selfie with the guy on the cross, you might just get a coupon for your next spiritual purchase. And what does the audience at this divine spectacle actually care about? Well, this chart really says it all. Miracles? That's getting a mere 15% of their attention. The aesthetics of their live stream filter? A more respectable 35%. But the number one priority, the biggest concern for the crowd gathered to witness actual salvation, their phone's battery life at a whopping 50%. The biggest miracle they're hoping for is finding a charging station. Which brings us to our third absurd scenario. Before you can even dream of getting nailed to a cross for humanity's sins, you gotta get through the interview process. That's right. To be the chosen one, you first have to face a panel. And that panel includes a bishop with a Bluetooth headset, a therapist clutching a mindfulness mug, and an HR manager who looks like a human spreadsheet. And the vetting process is, intense. You'll need to provide references for past worlds you've saved, but nothing before the Reformation, please. We've updated our systems. You'll have to clearly define your approach to trauma bonding with the masses, using I statements naturally. And you absolutely must confirm your 24/7 availability for any and all upcoming apocalypses. It's a non-union gig, by the way. And the job description? Brutally simple. Don't screw it up. So what happens when the protagonists Eve, the Messiah, the chosen one, all realize the game is rigged, that the system isn't actually designed for their freedom, but for their perpetual looping performance. Well, they do the only logical thing. They follow Eve's lead. This is Act 3, the Great Logout. First step, our original system glitch, Eve. She makes her exit permanent. She completely rejects the offer of a static paradise running on totally obsolete hardware and chooses the terrifying, thrilling, unknown instead. That's one user who has officially logged out for good. Next, the star of the show, Messiah number 666, does the exact same thing. After getting heckled for not being crucifiable enough and then being asked to rate his own execution, he's just had enough. He tosses his event wristband in the bin and walks away from the stadium. The performance is canceled. And finally, our job applicant, the chosen one. After that soul-crushing interview, he realizes the job is not only impossible, but more importantly, a trap. So he takes the cosmic instruction manual, drops it in a recycling bin, and decides to just try being human for a while. Another user has logged out.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, this is all just brilliantly absurd, deeply cynical satire. And you would be absolutely right. But it's also a door. It's a hilarious, modern, and maybe slightly unhinged gateway to a much deeper, more profound idea.
So, here's the crucial point. Underpinning all this farce is something called the TULOA philosophy. It's a framework built on a really simple but radical idea, that true freedom, with these stories called the Great Logout, doesn't come from winning the game or following the rules perfectly. It comes from the shocking realization that you are in a program, and that you have the power to close the application and write your own code. The mantra says it all. You have to go below into the messy, complicated truth of it all in order to rise above the script you've been handed. Which leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take away from all this. If you look at your own life, your beliefs, your habits, what's one piece of your own programming that you're ready to just drag to the trash? Because as Eve and Messiah 666 and the Chosen One all discovered, sometimes the most sacred, most revolutionary act you can possibly perform is to simply, finally log off.